Welcome back to the Sharon Fitzmaurice podcast. And today I'm welcoming a very special guest. Vanessa Mooney from Tullamore in County Offaly was diagnosed with breast cancer age 40 in December 2019, just 2 months after her sister's cancer diagnosis. And around the same time, their brother was diagnosed with a terminal illness. Vanessa is not only going to share some of her story and how it affected her, but she's also going to share how she is now developing something very special that is going to help others. Vanessa, you are very welcome.
Hey Sharon, how are you?
Hi,
And
great.
thanks a million for having me. It's always a
Well,
pleasure.
only delighted. So, myself and Vanessa, as you all know, I always talk about how I've connected with the guests on my podcast. And I connected with Vanessa, we would say probably about 10 years ago, Vanessa, maybe when you came to my mindfulness classes in Galway. Would that be right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Game changer. They were
Mm,
amazing. Definitely needed it at the time because my mom just passed away, so
yeah,
it's kind of full on.
yeah. So obviously, I got to know Vanessa, and she has a great background in graphic design. And in 2017, I think I contacted Vanessa about creating the cover of my book. So, like anybody that is maybe starting out for the first time writing a book, the writing of the story is hard enough, but then thinking about cover design. So, it's great to have somebody with expertise. And Vanessa was that wonderful person because I knew her, she knew me and what I was about, what I like to work on. And she created this beautiful cover for me.
Yay! That was a great
Yeah,
job to work on, in
it
fairness. It
was just amazing.
was so easy. It just came to me straight away.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, and even the colors and everything you use, Vanessa, it's like your intuition really spoke to you, and every little detail in it was fabulous. And I remember the first time I showed it to a friend of mine, she said, "Oh my God, it just jumps off the shelf." She said,
Yeah.
"It's just everything about it." So thank you, Vanessa,
Oh, you're
because
welcome. It's a
it's
joy.
just beautiful. I love looking at it all the time. I just love it. So thank you.
You can just see the energy oozing out of it, which is what I love. And
Absolutely.
that's you, Sharon. So
Oh, well, thank you. But again, you weren't just doing it, as a job. You were putting so much into it. And
yeah.
again, it's like everything that you do for any of your clients, or especially now going forward, we'll talk about what you're developing, how you're putting your heart and soul into it. But let's come back to you, Vanessa. So you're obviously from a very large family. There is 13 siblings in your family, is that right?
Yeah, wow, 13. There's five boys and seven sisters. Yeah, crazy.
Wow, what was that like growing up with such such a
Oh,
huge crowd all the time?
oh, Sharon, the stories I could tell you. We'd put the snapper to shame. That's the truth. I actually, which I'll talk about later, I actually started writing a memoir about it. And when I was going through treatment and it was bringing flashbacks back, well, it was just the stories were hilarious, like,
Yeah, and as you said, it is because you already had kind of a built-in community just in your family alone,
Yeah.
where some people only have the one or the two or maybe six siblings, but 13 is a huge amount. And what was it like growing up where there was obviously age gaps between all of you then?
Oh yeah, it's like I think I remember saying to Mammy, I think you were pregnant for like 9 years, adding it all up.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all like steps of the ladder, really. So the oldest is Martina, and then after Martina, there's Martina, Paddy. I do have to think like really seriously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Martina, Paddy, Hazel, Mary, Margaret, Pamela, Veronica, Anne, myself. Then there's Kevin and Derek and Alan and Joey. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you're in the middle of them all.
I know I'm the baby girl. Yeah.
You're the baby girl. Isn't that
Yeah.
lovely?
And then
So
Joey's just a year younger than me. So
Oh, so
yeah.
wow. And then obviously, as you said, losing your mother as well. She was such a matriarch for the family, and
Oh,
losing her
terrible.
in 2015 must have been extremely hard.
Yeah, it was actually 2014. Yeah. Oh, stop. I still well up even when I think about it. But
Mm.
I remember I went to Let's Talk in Galway. Game changer. I had to go for about a year to get grief counselling. But I remember counsellor saying to me, you know, the bigger the grief, the bigger the love, the bigger the grief. And that always stuck with me. So it kind of helped me to know that there was just so much love from my mammy and from all of us, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy, like, especially with 13 different personalities and everyone grieving in their own way. So
Mm. And it
she,
is so true. Yeah.
yeah, biggest biggest loss I've ever had, you know. When you get a grief like that, it's kind of like, even talking about it now, I just still get emotional about it.
Mm.
But I've learned to accept. I know she's in a better place and she's not sick anymore, you know,
Mm. Yeah.
which was terrifying because she passed away of cancer. And then you hear you've got cancer and you're just like, oh God, really?
Yeah.
Again? You
Yeah.
know?
And it's really frightening, you know, and again, especially as your sister was diagnosed 2 months before you.
Yeah, Veronica,
Yeah.
like, it was
Yeah.
mental. And I was up in St. James's with her literally 2 months before hearing the diagnose, you know, you've got lung cancer,
Mhm.
you know, and it's all in shock, and the whole family getting together and, you know, discussing what we were going to do and helping Fawn and everything. And just
Mm.
before that, we found out about Kevin in England. He's over in England and he was diagnosed with a terminal illness and only given 1 to 2 years to live, you know. So the whole family just were like, it was full on. And then for me to hear my diagnosis on top of it all, you know, as Veronica said, if this was a film, you'd turn it off. If it was a book, you know, you'd close it. You'd
Yeah.
say, that's so much for one family to go through. But I do
Absolutely.
think it's brought us all closer. Absolutely. You know, we've always been a very close family anyway. So,
Mm.
and Mammy always made sure that, you know, 100%. But yeah, but Kevin's actually doing quite well now. He's he was on crazy medication. It just stripped him right down. And as I say, he's on new doctor, new kind of things. He's building himself up slowly, and it's a long process. Veronica still suffering from the side effects from it. Like when you're
Mm.
going around with, you know, 3/4 of a lung gone, it's very hard. Your life changes completely, you know. But
Mm.
yeah, we're getting there. So that's,
Yeah.
you know, we
Yeah.
talk a lot, which is great.
And I was going to say that the fact that you're even here on the podcast talking today, but because you have that support in your family, you
Mm,
know, that you're having to deal with your own grief, you know, after losing your mom, and
mm.
then coming in, you know, sometimes I think the bigger the families, the more you have to deal with, Veronica. Well, isn't
Yeah,
it true? You know, there's so much,
absolutely.
as you said, there's not just the personalities, but it's their lives. It's the things that go right you celebrate and the things that go
Yeah.
wrong that you have to be there for them, you
Mm.
know. So it's a blessing that you are so close. And
Yeah,
again, having to deal with Kevin's diagnosis, you know, Veronica's diagnosis, and then coming to your own diagnosis and only being 40 years of age, you
oh,
know.
it was horrific. And the funny thing about it was I found a lump and I was like, went to the GP and stuff, and they were like, nah, there's no history of breast cancer in your family. Usually comes from the mother's side and that kind of stuff for breast cancer. And they were like, it's definitely a cyst, you know, more or less, but we'll just get it checked out to be on the safe side. So I was kind of thinking, okay, you know, probably is just a cyst, but your head is fried because you've seen so much trauma
Mm.
from cancer with going through with my mum and then with Veronica. And we went up to St. James's, and after I did the mammogram and all that stuff, and we were waiting for ages in the waiting room to get the results back. But when I went for the mammogram, Sharon, at the time of my on my right breast, and I did a biopsy under my arm. So I went home thinking that's not good. Do you know,
Mm.
I think I knew deep down, but I was just hoping and praying. And then when I was with Veronica, like her surgeon walked in with a red folder. So when she was with me and Anne was with me as well, he walked in with a red folder and Veronica just looked at Anne and said, it's cancer, do you know?
Mm.
She knew straight away before they even told me. So yeah, and you just can't hear anything. You're literally you're you know, they're just talking and talking and you're looking from the surgeon back to the nurse and then terrified to look at your sisters. Anne was shaking, hanging onto the table.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. And then it's just absolute roller coaster of emotions after that. And then to tell the family, and after everything, they're all patiently at home waiting for we have a WhatsApp family group. There's that many.
Yeah.
One message will do. So that was crazy. Yeah, definitely. I remember we were leaving and we were walking down the corridor, and Anne turns around and says, "Jesus, girls, you'd be chemo sisters." Veronica
Yeah.
said, "Too soon, too soon." But it did make me laugh inside. I was like, sure, what can you do?
Yeah. And I think
So,
that sometimes as well, it's through that, it's like, grief and anything that shock of it as well. The Irish have a great way of bringing in humor to it,
oh,
to
it's the only
help
way.
lighten it, isn't it, a little bit?
Yeah. As Mammy would say, sure, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry.
Yeah.
So it's true words.
Yeah.
And sure, then after that, it was just appointments after appointments, it's a roller coaster. Like, you don't have time to think. You really don't.
Mm.
You're prodded, you're poked, everything. Then you're just, after it all, it doesn't even hit you. You're just trying to focus to get on with it. And I started chemotherapy in February, 2020, because I was diagnosed in December 2019. Yeah. I actually found out on Christmas Eve in St. James's. That was actually quite horrific. Me and Anne walking out into Christmas carols, singing and everything. And I'm looking at Anne going, seriously, like, this hospital is full of cancer patients,
Yeah. I
you know?
know.
And you're just thinking, oh, wow, this is just mental. And then you're trying to have, like, put on a face for your family for Christmas Day, and everyone was miserable. We were just doing the motions, really trying to get through it all and stuff like that. Then in February the 13th, actually, it was Lily, my dog's birthday. She was godsend. She is
Yeah.
a godsend. So Veronica had just finished her chemotherapy around that time, and she came with me. So we went to Tullamore just before COVID. And we were walking in. Veronica knew everyone, chatting away to them all. They were like, "Well, Fawn, how are you? Jeez, oh, you're looking well," and all this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is my little sister. Yeah, she's starting. Everyone's, "Oh Lord, isn't that shocking?" The
Mm.
whole town is just talking about it, going, just for one family to go through so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the funny thing was, then I was starting chemo, and they were putting the drip into my arm and stuff like that. And Veronica's like, "Would you like some orange juice?" And I was like, yeah, okay. I was really quiet because I'm very shy. I was like,
Yeah.
where she talked to everyone. And I'm sitting there, and she put the little straw into the orange juice, and she was like handing it to me. And I'm like this with my mouth for her to put it in, because I was like feeling so sorry for myself.
Almost like a child, isn't it? Yeah. Oh.
She handed it to me. She went out and got onto the phone to the whole family and said, "Listen, lads, this isn't going to be easy. This one's going to be hard work."
She really is the baby girl.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was great. But so I had Veronica with me for the first chemo. But then literally after that, COVID-19 hit, and it was just like, oh, it was like crazy. It was, the whole world changed, as you know yourself. And the nurses and everything, which was crazy. It was very terrifying, because they put the fear in you, because they're like, your immune system is so low, you can't go out, you can't do anything. If you get COVID, the chances of you surviving are so low. And this is at the very beginning. So you didn't realize how bad it was.
Mm.
And so after that, then it was just pure isolation. You're on your own, you can't see anyone, no one comes see you, you can't just get a hug, even something as simple as that. So that was very hard. And yeah, just even thinking about it now, it's like, whoa, when you think back and you're like, how did you do it?
Yeah,
And you're like, wow,
it
really
is.
strength.
So you talked about the isolation of it, and I know people that have gone through similar journeys, and they felt isolated when there wasn't even, a pandemic. And
Yeah,
one of the things that you spoke about is, how you were feeling, but you didn't want to burden even your family about how
no,
you were truly feeling inside. What
yeah.
was that feeling, Vanessa?
It was just there was so much going on, and I knew they were so worried as it is, And when you get diagnosed with cancer, any cancer, the fear comes, and everyone will say it. It's when you're lying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you have all these thoughts going through your head. You don't know what the future holds. You're literally facing, mortality. You're like,
Mm,
what can you do? And will the test come back? Because they check your whole body, and you're left waiting to see if it's spread to your bones, to your liver, to every part of your body. And the waiting for that alone is just absolutely horrific.
mm.
You know.
What was your biggest fear apart from death? That's no, because there's the elephant in the room, but it's what everybody thinks about, isn't it? But what was your biggest fears apart from dying?
um, well, for me, I was single. I was a young woman, and it just stripped me of my femininity. That whole idea of getting your breast removed, that's a very sensual part of your body.
Mhm.
And, um, I remember it was very hard actually, because what happened was they told me I was going to have a mastectomy at the beginning, but in my head I was like, I'm going to start chemo now, and it's going to shrink it, and it's going to be gone, and I'll probably need a lumpectomy, and I'll be grand.
Mm,
So I did all the chemo, and it was like during obviously lockdown, which was horrific. And after all of that, I went and got checkups, and they were like, wow, it's shrunk, we can't even find it. So I was like, this miracle, great.
yeah.
I was delighted with myself, thinking, that's it now, lumpectomy, I can keep the breast. And
Mm,
going into the surgeon then, and he was like, so, the next step now is mastectomy. And I'm like, hang on, why? Why? Like,
mm,
why do you have to do this? You can't even really, it's gone, I can't feel it, the scans. He was like, Vanessa, we're not taking any chances. Like, you're too young. There was one in your lymph node.
mm,
Thankfully, they caught it in time. It was stage 2B breast cancer. I was just devastated, Sharon. I was absolutely devastated, because I had built myself up, and chemotherapy over, God, I think it was 6, 7 months of it. Um, and I was devastated, thinking, right, that was just the hardest thing, getting my head around that. And then going into the darkness behind that with the mental health was just, no one really talks about that much. But tell you something, I always remember Mammy when she was sick, and she used to, before she passed away, we'd all be, minding her every night and stuff like that, and the crack and everything. And I was actually living in Galway at the time, and I started doing Irish dancing lessons.
mm,
So every Saturday I'd come home to mind her, and I'm would do a Friday, this kind of way, and the rest of them that were home would do during the week. And so every night she'd be listening to Foster and Ellen, she'd have the music
mm,
on, and she loved all the singing, and she loved her singing. Patsy Cline,
yeah.
brilliant singer, absolutely. Sure, I'd come in then, and she'd be, she'd be a bit tired and stuff. She'd wake up about 3 o'clock in the morning. She'd be like, how was your Irish dancing class? I was like, yeah, it was grand, Mummy. Right, get up there and show me what you learned. I was like, would you stop it? And here she'd be like, go on, count me in, 1, 2, 3, and the 1, 2, 3. 3 o'clock in the morning, Sharon, I'm up jumping around the sitting room with the, with the light bulb
I
shaking.
love it. I love it.
It was just, I'm telling you, when you think about, like, in a way, we got to spend so much time with her
Mm,
as well, and having the really personal one-on-one chats that you wouldn't necessarily have. But
mm,
I remember her saying to me, she used to be trying to teach me how to cook and everything.
mm,
Before, I was like, crash course, Vanessa's baby girl. I was very spoiled now, Sharon. There's no need to lie about that. Ruined. And she was saying to me, I remember she saying, whenever you feel like you're in a dark hole, don't let yourself go there. And I was like, what is she talking about? Because
mm,
I was always happy, and I was living
mm,
my life in Galway, working in a great graphic design company, meeting loads of people, out socializing, having to crack. I
mm,
was just like, what does she mean like that? that time now when they told me about the losing my breast and everything. And after, I was like, that's what she's talking about, you know?
Mm.
And I went home that evening and I just got all my tablets, everything I was taking. And I mean, there was loads. And I was just take them. I wanted to be with Mammy at that stage, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's thinking about it.
Yeah.
But
It's all right. Take your time. It's a hard thing to share, Vanessa. And I know when we spoke during the week and you said, that was one of the things you really wanted to discuss was, the mental health side of it. And
yeah,
because people think of the physicalness of it and going through the chemo and the treatment and the surgery and, losing your breast, having breast reconstruction, all of that, that's the hardest part. But as
yeah,
you said, nobody is with you in the dead of the night in your head, when you're thinking to yourself
yeah,
and
it's
even
weird.
contemplating, what's the point of going through all of this?
Yeah.
And being with my mammy happened to crack. We could be Irish dancing in spirit
Oh,
together.
stop. That was it. And just like honest thinking, like, well, I can't have kids. That was taken away from me as well. So I was like, I'm single. I don't have any kids. I have Lily. I know my sister would take care of her. And then I was just, my head wasn't in the right place. And got really upset. And I actually rang my brother, Joey, over in Jersey and was bawling down the phone to him saying, that's it. I want to leave. I want to be a mammy. I can't take this anymore. And he was devastated. He was like, please, whatever you do, don't. And I'll be on a plane tomorrow over to you and don't care about COVID and all this stuff. So, anyways, after that, then sure he rang the rest of the family, and sure, next thing I know, there's about 4 of them at the door.
The army of
The
support.
army coming in, they're all sitting down, calling in the big guns. Paddy, which is the older of the whole family, he was kind of like a dad figure to me, really, growing up. They were all in there, and Veronica, obviously, and Pamela. Pamela was amazing support to me now, because I was living near Pamela, and she'd be cooking me dinners and everything, making sure I was eating it all. She was just, they were godsend. And they all arrived anyway, and sure, Veronica, after going through it with her little hair stubble growing back, looking at me going, what the heck are you thinking of?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she turns around and goes, come here till I tell you, Vanessa. You see all those tablets you're taking? Because she has loads of tablets herself. She was like, I'll tell you, if you had to take them, you wouldn't be seeing Mammy. You'd be up in a hospital bed saying blink once for yes and twice for no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, but it actually made me laugh because she was like, if you're going to do it, you're not doing it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. But to be
She-
brought to that point, Vanessa, as well, and I think that's what it is. It's, people look at you and say, God, you're doing great now, Vanessa, and you look
yeah,
mighty, Vanessa. And sure, didn't you get through it? Get over that now.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
again, it's when you go back over the trauma that you went through, because it wasn't just dealing with your own diagnosis, it was the rest of your family and what
Yeah,
they were going through, the loss of your mother. There was so much in a
yeah,
short space of a few years. And
yeah,
then, having the treatment and all of that is hard. But as you said, that feminine side to you, and losing one of your breasts. And
yeah.
it's you look at yourself differently. You feel differently about yourself.
Oh, Sharon, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was like, how am I ever going to date? Like, who would want to date me? That's the reality of it. You're like, you don't feel attractive. You don't feel like a woman. Um, Still today, like I had an implant with my surgeon after. So, um, but then I had to have radiation, so that got affected. So I'm actually still on the waiting list now to get my breast reconstruction, which is they use your tummy fat to create your breasts. So I'll get a tummy tuck at the same time.
Well, there's the bonus. There's the bonus.
That's the bonus of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like God, it's like it must be 4 years now since I've had coming up to 5 nearly since treatment and stuff. And I still struggle to look at myself in the mirror, but I'm forcing myself, you know.
Yeah.
Step
Because
up.
you are a beautiful woman,
Thank you.
beautiful woman. And I know that again, our body, body image is huge for everybody, whether they've gone through any kind of treatment or not. And our body changes as we, get over 21, and it does
Yeah.
change. And women struggle with that alone, going through
Yeah.
menopause and all of those things. And you were put into early menopause as well, weren't you, Vanessa?
Oh, Sharon, I'm telling you, that was just horrific. You're just like, you're so young and fit and healthy, and next thing, the sweat's pouring off you, like,
Yeah.
you're just like, listen, girls, everyone knows about that. It's not nice waking up 3 times a night changing my pajamas. It was
Mm,
just horrific. But after, and I'd be chatting to my sister who's in her 60s about it. You know, I'm just
mm,
40. And my older sisters, they really struggled. They found it very hard going, why did Vanessa, she's so young.
mm.
And they were saying, if anyone should be getting cancer, it should be us, in that kind of
Oh,
strange, roundabout way. They really
mm,
struggled with it. They couldn't understand
yeah.
why it was happening. The baby girl family, like, it
Mm,
was really dramatic now, I have to say. And so, yeah, menopause, I'm telling you, that's what I'll definitely have a section about that when we talk later. It's going to be massive on the app. But um, then there is stuff like I'm on a tablet now that kind of keeps you kind of at bay, and you can't take any HRT or anything because my breast cancer was hormone,
mm,
so you're just basically told, sorry, now this is the new normal.
yeah.
And there's one thing actually, Sharon, it's funny, I always remember it. When I was going through treatment, I read an article and it's always stuck in my mind. It's about it's a mountain lion, so and it's like one morning you wake up and you open the fridge and there's a big mountain lion staring at you and you have to run for your life.
Mm,
So you're running and running up this mountain and you're sprinting and this mountain lion is chasing you. It's snapping at your heels. And while you're running up the mountain, you see other people running up the mountain, and one person might be running with one leg and you're like, God, isn't that terrible? Someone with more advanced cancer than you had, or then you'd see someone else and they're flying up the mountain. You're like, geez, they're very lucky. And when you have all your family there shouting and supporting, come on, you can do this, you can do this. And the only thing that will kill a mountain lion is a bear. So you have to get to the top of the mountain to get the bear to try and kill the mountain lion. So you finally make it to the very top, and the whole mountain lion and bear are going at each other and they're ripping each other to bits. So the bear kills the mountain lion, but you're left absolutely. So basically, you're the bear and you're shredded to bits, and you're living in fear, looking over the edge of the cliff to see, is that fucking lion there hanging on?
yeah.
And then you're left walking down the mountain and everyone's screaming, going, yeah, you did it, well done. But you're literally ripped to bits.
Mm,
You're inside your physical body, your mental mind, everything. And you're just constantly, every time you open the fridge, you're looking, saying, is there going to be another mountain lion? Is there going to be a cub? So
yeah.
you constantly have this fear. And actually, then I had to have my ovaries and fallopian tubes removed there in March. So again, I was like, lads, come on, you might as well call me like Vincent or Victor or something.
Yeah.
Or womanhood being stripped from me. So that was hard as well, even later on going in for that surgery. And it was just more of a precaution kind of thing because um, the tablets I was on, the tamoxifen that all the breast cancer ladies will know, horrific. Um, it wasn't kind of starting to work for me. So to be on the safe side, we removed them all and changed to a different hormone blocker, which left me feeling like a 90-year-old woman, Sharon. Couldn't get out of bed. I'd wake up every morning, my hands, my feet, my body, like it was just, I couldn't even cycle or walk Lily. So I had to come off it for a few months. I said, I need quality of life. You can't live in fear. There's
Mm,
no point. You get one life, live it the best you can.
yeah.
So anyways, after that, then I was off that. And only last week, actually, I was in and out of hospital all week last week. And in between that, arranging with photo shoots and chatting to you and
Mm,
everything else. And everything, the test me, it was all, very good and clear. They had the ultrasound of the womb. Then they didn't have gynecologists in Tullamore, so I had to go to a gynecologist. Wait till I tell you what happened to me on Friday. It's absolutely hilarious. I think I was chatting to you, right? Only in Ireland, Sharon, only in Ireland. I was sitting there anyway. So they were like, Vanessa Mooney, yeah, coming up and just to see the gynecologist. So there's a junior doctor. She brought me into this room. She was like, okay, remove your pants and your underwear, and here's a sheet to put over yourself. And I was like, grand, yeah, no bother, thanks. She goes, I'll be back now with the actual gynecologist, and we'll have a look at your cervix and all that. So I was just lying in bed going, okay, yeah, no bother. So they come in anyway, and she was lovely. They were like, how are you, chatting away. And so first of all, anyway, the junior doctor goes, hang on a minute, I may put a bin in front of the door in case anyone walks in. She lifts the bin, puts it on, right? And here I am lying on the bed with a little sheet over me, legs spread, right? So next thing to put this thing, inside you, and all you can hear is this cranking noise. I was like, oh my God. Now the best part, Sharon, wait till you hear this. The oncologist or the gynecologist turns around and says, Vanessa, do you have a phone? I was like, I do. Why? Do you mind turning on the torch there? She took the phone off me using the torch. I was lying there going, where am I? Is this? I was looking for cameras. I actually thought, is this for real?
Oh, that is brilliant. Oh my God.
And yeah, I walked out going, well, that's different anyway. And the funny thing is, after she left, she was like, oh, it all looks clear and all that. They're going to send me to put me under to have a camera and stuff, just to be 100% sure, which is
Yeah.
great. And they're very thorough. And she turns around and says, well, it's lovely to meet you, Vanessa. Have a lovely life.
Have a lovely life.
Thanks.
And thanks for the use of your torch.
And here's your phone.
Oh, that is amazing. And again, I love that you can laugh about
Yeah,
these experiences, because after struggling through everything that you've been through, and
yeah,
you can laugh now and smile about it, but
yeah,
still be
yeah,
very open and say, there still are days when it is tough and you do get locked inside your own head and you're dealing with the changes in your body and the
yeah,
changes in how you feel as a woman and connecting with others, in your dating life and,
yeah.
how they're going to respond or react to who
Yeah, well,
you
I have a
are
lovely
now.
partner now, so that's great. She's
Yeah.
very supportive, and we're myself, Nadine, and Lily, so we're all happy out. So
Oh,
but
I'm
again,
delighted.
even starting to date with Nadine, like I was hiding myself. I wouldn't, show. You just it takes women that are married to men for 20 years won't show themselves to their
Yeah.
husband. It's that trauma, like it's
Yeah.
literally deep within you. And
Yeah.
you're literally left looking at yourself in the mirror, not knowing who is this person, and you
Mm,
have to build yourself right up from scratch. Look, I'm sure you've seen it all with John.
mm,
It's no joke. But the only thing which I will say is there is hope. Cancer
mm.
isn't the death sentence it used to be. There's amazing things they can do now. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're a testament to that, especially
When
when you were
cancer goes
going through so
positive,
much,
yeah,
you know. And again, I know, and that's what I talk about, is that fear, that initial fear. And, is this the end? Am I going to survive? Will I be able to live a normal life?
yeah,
And none of us know. Nobody knows when they get a cancer diagnosis. My mother has just got,
yeah,
we suppose, they all clear after like you 4 years, of going
yeah,
through extremely hard treatment. And she's 77 in October.
yeah,
And again, it was like some days she was so unwell. She said, if I just died in that moment, it would have been okay because she was
yeah,
so sick,
yeah,
So I can understand where you're coming from. Of
yeah.
course, nobody can understand it like you can, because again, it's a personal experience for each person, isn't it, Vanessa?
Oh, absolutely. Like what Franica was my rock because obviously she got it. She went through it. So 3 o'clock in the morning, like I'd be texting her,
Mm,
and like I'd be getting sick and but I wouldn't tell my family about it.
mm,
Pamela would come over with the dinner and I'd be eating it or go over to her house, forcing myself. But sure, as
mm.
soon as she went back to work then I was getting sick, and smoothies, girls. Anyone watching this, smoothies
Yeah.
godsend for the going through it. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you're literally, that's why it was so important for me to create someone like me,
And let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So I will give it a little introduction because I think it deserves an amazing introduction because again, knowing Vanessa and the work that she put into the cover of my book and everything she does, I can see the work that she is putting into this. So you're developing an app called Someone Like Me to
Yeah.
create a supportive space for cancer patients, survivors, peers, and their families.
Yeah.
It's inspired by your own battle,
Yeah.
and Vanessa aims to help others through their cancer journeys. So the free app connects user by age and location, allowing them to share experiences, join private chats, and access resources like the Marie Keating Foundation and the Irish Cancer Society. It offers tools such as local meetups, live podcasts, and information on services like physiotherapy, yoga, fitness classes, diet and nutrition, wig specialists, and many, many more.
Yeah.
And the app also includes a separate section for spouses, family, and friends of cancer patients, offering guidance on how to provide support. I
Yeah.
mean, it has everything, Vanessa. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing.
Absolutely. Like, you really have to go through it to create something to understand it to that extent.
Yeah.
And I actually did a survey, and I got a few influencers, which were great, sending it out for me, that had cancer themselves.
Mm.
And I got over 600 surveys back from Ireland, England, New Zealand, even Australia and US, going, this is amazing. Like, when can I download it? When
Wow.
is it ready? There's loads of support out there, but like, you have to really research and kind of grab this and grab that. And the anxiety I used to get on to Google, looking up stuff, reading stories, getting to fear,
Yeah.
inside you. And even Facebook groups, you have all the support groups there. I just found it very overwhelming, even though they're great to a certain extent.
Mm.
But then you'd have loads of different opinions all coming in, and it's a bit
Mm.
overwhelming. Whereas this, with the app, it's trustworthy and reliable resources. You're going
Mm.
to, you'll be listening to podcasts from oncologists, gynecologists, everything,
Mm.
that's related to your cancer type. So you
Yeah.
need comfort in it. With the meetups, I found very hard to speak to someone my age, going through it. So that's why I was thinking I would love to meet someone like me, where I
Yeah.
can just go and find out there's someone. I actually found out after treatment there was a lady not too far away from me that had similar breast cancer to me. And I was like, I would love to have met up with her and had to
Mm.
chat.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just to have, you can't talk to your family or your loved ones like you can to someone who's gone through it,
Yeah.
because they're just the look on their face. You just want to give them a hug. You don't want to hurt them anymore.
I know, and I can see it in you, and I can see it with everybody. It's like John said, he thought more of how we felt, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah, and like you said it there, it's you felt like a burden or you didn't want to burden them. And of course, they're saying, no, you're not,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
don't understand what you're going through.
Oh,
And sometimes it's easier to speak to a stranger than it is your family member also.
absolutely. Yeah, and you become best friends. Like, I've met some people, through little Facebook kind of things that I chat to, and we've become friends. But um, also, which I want to say, because some people like me, I would very much love to, put my story out there and chat to someone that's, around, and meet for a coffee and all that. But there's a section going to be on the app where you don't have to show yourself physically. So some people mightn't be ready
Yeah,
to step to that stage, but they can still access all the podcast, all the stuff. They can turn themselves on or off.
brilliant.
So it gives them that security. And another thing that I found, when you're going through treatment and even after treatment, sometimes if you're getting them, like, you have to kind of wave at the person. So you wave and you like each other's stories, and then you can start a private chat. But some days you might want to chat. It is it's a very delicate kind of situation. So there
Mm.
will be an option on it where it'll be an auto saying, Vanessa isn't going to be active, for a few
Yeah.
days or whatever. So it's not like, you don't want to feel, I'd be feeling, oh my God, I didn't message,
Yeah.
Siobhan back or something. And she was so nice to say, oh, I loved your story. I'm, going through the same thing. And you're just like, oh, Siobhan, I'd love to chat to you. But right now I'm absolutely melting here with the menopause.
Yeah.
So no, do you know what? I'll just put this little auto click and I'll chat you when I'm ready. And
Yeah.
that's what I think will give it that kind of security. And also I'll be doing facial recognition, because you don't want anyone
Mm.
downloading this app and just, unfortunately there's people out there that would be trying to get on it and take advantage of cancer patients. And that's something that I'm highly conscious of and aware of. So
Mm.
the security to actually get onto the app will be very, very high, which
I
would be great.
love it. I love the whole idea behind it. And I love it because you've experienced it not just personally, but also within your family, and then meeting other people that have gone through it. And because you've done the survey and everyone thinks it's such a brilliant idea. And again, having everything in the one space,
Yeah,
that's one thing I found as well. I was doing the research for John Fitzmaurice,
yeah,
I can tell
yeah,
you,
yeah,
because John would kind of say, do I really want to know anything? And I'd say, no, but I do, because I'm quite curious and I'd like to know
yeah,
this, that, and whatever about it. Because it does set your mind at ease sometimes when you find out what that word means, or that medication is for, all of those
yeah,
things. But as you said, you have to research and go through a load of stuff, and it is very time consuming and very stressful. So I love the fact that everything will be in the app, and
yeah,
that you can go in and tap on what you want, and there'll be this available. You can hop onto the podcast, you can chat
yeah,
to someone if you want.
yeah,
I just think it's brilliant.
absolutely. And the thing is, when you're doing all the research, what I found is you come through a lot of dark, heavy stuff that's not even reliable. And that's something that sticks in your mind. So that's something
Mm.
that I know when you go to the app, someone like me, it's going to be reliable and credible. Everything
Yeah,
will be certified, and
yeah.
you're going to be guided. That's what I found. I found really
Mm.
hard. I was looking at this, and then when you start Googling, you go into one thing and then it leads you into another and another, and you're just
3 hours later.
after going, oh my God, that's it. I'm going to die. Good luck.
Yeah, it's the worst case scenario you're nearly seeing from it.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
love this because the support, and it's going to be people that are experienced in journey, but I love also that it's also going to be for family and friends of
Yeah,
cancer patients. It's one of the thing I said when I spoke to John on the podcast is, and I said to people, make sure you look after yourself, and
yeah,
again for your family, because you are emotionally attached to that person. You're watching them, you feel helpless, all of those things. So they need a support also, because sometimes it's like your family, they're around like the army of supporters.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes they don't know how to help. They don't know what to say just to be there. So
Mhm.
again, maybe it's giving them space to say, my sister, my husband, or my mother is going through this, and I don't know
Yeah,
what to say, or how can I help? What practical things can I do to help them?
there you go. You nailed it. Absolutely. And I found out, like, I could see my family were struggling, with all of this. And what I found actually, Sharon, which is amazing, you really find out who your true friends are, you know? And I lived in Galway, lovely, great group of friends. But when they heard I had cancer, like, I'd get a message first, oh Lord, sorry to hear that. But that was it.
Mm.
They kind of didn't know how to talk to me. But it was only afterwards when a few of them got in touch and said, I'm so sorry. I actually genuinely didn't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a fear around it. And again, and I don't judge that, but myself and John noticed that as well, is there's people
Yeah.
that will step up, they'll actually step up even more when
Oh,
there's something going
absolutely.
on. Did you notice that? And they will go
Yeah.
out of their way to
Yeah.
be there and to help you and support
Yeah.
you. And there was others, they have great intentions, but it's from a distance.
Yeah. And do you know what? They were the closest ones. They were the people that I really thought would step up. And
Mm.
like one of my friends, Kelly Vickers, like we grew up together. She was phenomenal, and we wouldn't have seen each other in years. And Natasha Scally that I went to school with, just them
Yeah.
girls were on every single day. Just what can we do? How are you? Do you need anything? And it was
Oh,
nice. But then it was like my friends in Galway, some of them afterwards, they were like, I was thinking about you all the time. I was just so devastated, but I didn't know what to say, and I apologized for that. And I was a bit angry at the time when I said it. I just kind of brushed it off. But when I actually thought about it, I was like, they honestly just didn't know. They didn't have the information, and that's what made me say it's really important to have the support.
Yeah.
Because when you're dealing with cancer, family, they all come together, and that's where you need to have people to go on and just, even for them to vent and for them
Yeah.
to talk to someone and say, I feel this fear, I'm terrified, I'm going to it's my wife.
Yeah.
They can say stuff to someone who's going through it because they're feeling it too. And it's kind
Absolutely.
of it's a bit of therapy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just amazing, Vanessa. And I know that you want to keep the app free,
Yeah, absolutely.
because there is a huge amount of development costs and you've already done so much work in it already and what you were looking for. And this is the most important part, listeners, and this is why I want you to share Vanessa's story and I want you to keep sharing. When I put her details down, she is looking for businesses that are interested in sponsorship or advertising and that they can contact Vanessa directly through www.someonelikeme. But at the moment, Vanessa has set up, and it was so funny. Vanessa will be saying, I didn't know this. And
Yeah.
of course, Vanessa was on my mind. And of course, I wanted to create a lovely space that she would feel free to be able to share whatever she wanted on the podcast. And that she has also an article will be coming out about Vanessa and her app in the Irish Times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's brilliant, loads of coverage. But I was thinking about this and I was going, how else can I help support Vanessa? How else can I help her? And suddenly this idea or thought came into my head about like GoFunding or crowdfunding. And I thought, God, I've seen people do that. Maybe Vanessa could do that. So I don't know if I left you a voice message or I
Yeah.
text you. And she came back and she said, Oh my God, now I know the universe is backing me.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
said, I have set up an I Donate crowdfunder page
yeah,
to raise donations. And I said, Oh, that is amazing because I
yeah,
wasn't sure if you could do it. So
yeah.
again, I'll be putting up the link for that, but it's www.idonate /crowdfunder/ Vanessa Mooney. And this is all to keep the app free for the users, which will be cancer patients, survivors, their families, and friends. And as Vanessa has said, someone like me, the app is going to be a supportive space for everybody with all the resources that one may need when they're going through that journey and even afterwards, because sometimes it's the after the treatment and after the surgery and after when you're told you're fine now, you don't need to come back for a few
Yeah.
months. Suddenly you're in limbo. As you said, you're getting used to your body being different, a new way of living. It's really restructuring your whole life, isn't it, Vanessa?
Oh, absolutely. It's the after treatment that, like, it's your hand is held the whole way through treatment. You have the support from everyone, and the medical team, they're amazing. And then you're literally like to give you a little slap in the arse and send you out the door and say off with you. And that's when you're standing there going, what do I do now? Like, what
Mm,
do I do now? And then it's constant, like you wake up, and you feel a pain and you're like, oh, what is this? What's going on? You constant fear. It's
mm,
like, it was so funny. I was thinking, I woke up the other day and I felt a pain, and it reminded me, do you remember Skippy, the push
yeah.
came? I was sitting there and it was like, if someone goes, what's up, Skippy? And it's like, what's that? Jack's fell down the well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone just goes running after Skippy. So I'm like, feel a pain. And it's like, okay, GP, oncologist, everyone, because you constantly have that, you have to really learn to listen to your body, and
Mm,
you have to learn to trust it again, Sharon.
yes.
You feel like, my body you feel it's let you down.
Mm.
You have to really turn your mindset around and go, okay, do you know what? I need to start loving you a lot more. So
Yeah. And I love that you said this, learning to trust your body, more and to listen to it when it's tired, when it needs to rest, when it
Yeah,
needs more water or nicer food or exercise. But also if you get little twinges, because in your case, that little twinge could be something else which you have to be more mindful of. And
yeah,
I love that you said you're learning to love it again,
yeah.
because you're loving it in a different way now, Vanessa, aren't you?
All day long, it really
Mm,
is like I've literally gone back to just my inner child in a way.
mm,
I feel like I'm just kind of giving myself a big hug and saying, "Do you know what, we've got this. It's a chapter. This is a chapter. Put it
mm.
behind you." And maybe in a way, I needed to go through this to develop this amazing app to help people and support to have it out there. That it's actually not out there. No one's actually done it. No one's actually brought it all together. There's all snippets, but that's why I know it'll be very successful and help people.
Mm.
And also there'll be a section on it, which an in-store, which I forgot to say, where you can buy, because when you're starting chemo, you don't know what to bring, you
Mm.
know. So the little hot water bottles, the sweets for the sore throat, the eye mask, so you can kind of purchase those little gift packages for loved ones, or you
Oh,
can,
that's beautiful.
yeah, that came to me actually in my dream the other night. I was like, there you go. It's like the universe is just giving me all this, which is great.
It is, because it's an amazing initiative,
Yeah.
Vanessa. As I said, there's so many wonderful things out there, but having it all in the one place that somebody can access all of those resources, even down to a family member going, I want to get them something, but I don't know what to get them, going in store to the app and being able to get them that little gift pack with everything that's practical and necessary for
Yeah.
them during treatment. And I know anybody, especially my mother, it's those little things that really are important,
Oh, the
not the
little
big
hot water
box.
bottles, for
Yes,
your
yeah,
hands, But it's
yeah.
great that I was like, well, just have it all there so because the person, doesn't know what to get, So it's
Mm,
great. It's a little care package, and give them a little
yeah,
journal in it, and they can write their thoughts, and that really helps. And you
that's
know,
wonderful.
yeah, I was delighted when it's just all, I'm going for walks and everything. It's just kind of fallen into place. And it's
Yeah.
very important for me to have it free. I don't want to charge people. I financially, like, oh, sure, you're out of work for a year straight away without treatment. After
Mm,
treatment, you still can't work because you're recovering and you're
mm,
tired all the time and everything. So it's a constant financial burden.
mm,
And so that's why it is important, guys. Please donate what you can. Every little helps. So that we can offer this for everyone to have it.
mm.
Everyone should be able to have access to this. And fears, go on at night, have the chats. Someone else, I'm telling you, I can guarantee you, it's probably going to be the busiest time.
Yeah, everyone is awake.
Active now, 3 o'clock.
Yeah. And again, that's really important to say that, because if you're living on your own, or even if you're with a partner or family and
Yeah,
you're waking up in the middle of the night, you don't want to disturb anybody else by text or waking them up. So knowing that app and going on and seeing there's someone like you
that's
that is
it.
going through this, and you can say, oh, you can't sleep either. And
Yeah.
that lovely support and comforting of each other, almost, that you're not doing this alone in the dark in the middle of the night.
No, and I would have given anything to have that. To have that app. So it was like it came to me during treatment and stuff in the middle of the night, going,
Mm.
God, and that's the name. I'd love to meet someone like me. So
Oh, that is so
promote yourself.
beautiful.
Yeah, so no, I'm delighted and I'm excited and I'm passionate about it. So
Mm.
I put the work into it. I want to see this flourish and grow and help so many
Mm.
people. I really do. It's hard enough going through the treatment.
Mm.
Instead of, it's great to have that support and have the reliable resources. I keep saying reliable because there's a lot of stuff out there that can leave you on going into really horrible thoughts. And again, girls, please, boys and girls, everyone, mind your mental health, because
Mm.
it's really, and people don't really think, they just think, you know what, she must be delighted, it's over. And that's it. But the it's a real, you really do have to work on it.
Yeah.
And
And I think one of the things that you've just kind of shown us, Vanessa, is going through it all, struggling and challenging, but still a part of you thought, oh, well, how could I help others
yeah,
like me going through this? And that has kind of helped boost you into
yeah,
being well for yourself so that you can help others. And you know what? I have seen that time and time again, Vanessa, with people that have gone through whatever they've gone through in their lives. And then they think, well, how could I help? How could my experience help somebody else? And
yeah,
they've gone on like you and developed something or started a class, whatever it might be. And I just applaud you, Vanessa, because instead of allowing yourself to wallow,
yeah.
which you'd be quite entitled to do after everything you've been through.
Sure,
But
it's not
it's
going to do any good.
no. So what you've done is you're putting your energy into something that is actually helping you mentally and emotionally as well, because you know what, you have great ideas. It's your background coming in with the design, all of that stuff with the app, but also from your own personal experience, what people would benefit from, which
Yeah,
I think is amazing. And it's an absolute credit to you, Vanessa. As I said, I always knew you were brilliant and amazing, but you're even more brilliant and amazing now.
oh, thanks.
Really, really are, and it's fabulous. And if I can offer anything to the app, free meditations for people, I would gladly do that as well, Vanessa.
Yeah,
Hand
no,
in my heart, absolutely.
I know there'll be a Sharon Fitzmaurice on it for sure. People need you in their life, Sharon, you know?
Oh, well, look, we all need somebody.
Yeah,
And I think, Vanessa, you sharing your story, because I heard somebody saying recently, but sure, there's loads of people go through cancer. And I was going, yes, lots of people do go through cancer,
yeah,
but they all have a different experience and perspective while they're going through it and afterwards as well. So they can't be all labeled under breast cancer survivor, prostate cancer survivor. Every one of those, like you, they're individual, their families are individual to them, their support is individual to them. And we need to start treating them as individual people that need different supports and resources at different times. So I just think this app is going to be a lifesaver for many people, Vanessa. So well done.
thank you. I feel it myself. I know it's going to help because it was literally what I was crying out for. And my surveys coming back, the women and men even just saw it going, absolutely. And I think for men, it might be something that could be good because they really struggle to talk, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Could be really good where they can, you know, have the private chats. No one needs to know about it, what's going on. And
Mm. And I think that's really important, the anonymous, that they can
yeah,
go on anonymously. They don't have to say, I'm Pat from down the road.
no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and that's fair enough. You don't want to be, you need, you can still be on it, have your little security blanket and,
Mm,
that kind of thing, because it is a scary thing. You don't want to be, some people will be delighted and
yeah,
want to be out there. And it's, I think as well, telling your story is healing in itself.
yeah.
So for
How do
someone,
you feel after telling your story
oh,
today?
amazing, absolutely amazing, Sharon. I feel like absolutely I'm buzzing. I can't wait to get stuck in even more now. And, I'm flat out working on the app, so I'm with app developers at the moment. And but again, very costly, and that's where the support from, you know, the lovely Irish people would be amazing.
Yeah. And anywhere in the world,
Yeah, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
all my listeners all over the world, if
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
any way anybody could, or if you know it, of any business interest that would be able
yeah,
to sponsor Vanessa, it's great advertisement, all of that, and you'd be doing something wonderful in the world.
yeah.
So again, if anybody out there has a business interest or you've a few thousand to spare lying around under the mattress, donate to Vanessa's donate
The
crowdfunding
first only
page.
communion money, guys.
Yeah, if you
But
got it.
yeah. Well, so I meant to say, Sharon, when I'm launching it, it's not just going to be launched in Ireland, it's going to be launched in Ireland and the UK as
Yeah,
well, because the response I'm after getting from the UK has been huge. You know, they're saying there's a certain amount of support, but then it drops. There's this, and that. So
yeah.
it's very exciting, yeah. But
Well, I am grateful to you for coming on and sharing your story. But the message is that, there is support out there, but we need to have it in one space, which is in your app or going to be in your app, someone like me. But we need your help and support, everybody. So if you've listened to this podcast, please share it with everybody. It doesn't matter if they've experienced cancer in their family or through friendship or you don't know anybody. Just keep sharing it out there as much as possible. We want to see this app become available and freely available. As Vanessa said, there is a financial burden on people when they're going through treatment and even afterwards, and we don't want them to have to pay for any of these resources.
Oh, they should have, they've enough worries paying everything and the price of everything in Ireland. Free, 100%. I will not waver on that one bit.
Well, we're going to help you as much as we can, Vanessa, and I promise you that. So, everybody, if you would like to check out www.someonelikeme.ie, and you can find Vanessa on Instagram if you want to contact her immediately after you hear this and donate loads of money. She's at vanessa.mooney2024, or again, www.idonate/crowdfunder/Vanessa Mooney, to keep the app Someone Like Me free for cancer patients, survivors, families, friends, with all the resources you would need. And I will be putting all of those links up in the show notes. So if you didn't get them, because I've repeated them 100 times, they will be in the show notes. And I will be also tagging Vanessa in all of the social media promotions when we're putting the app or releasing, I should say, the podcast episode. So again, please check it out. You mightn't have much to give, but remember, any amount is actually really needed. So one story comes to mind, and I remember my mother years ago, and we didn't have much, Vanessa, and a lady came to the door, and she was a traveling lady and she didn't have anything. And my mother didn't have anything, but she gave her jam and bread because that's all we had to eat at the time. But she also gave her the last €5 or £5 it was at the time out of her purse. So we literally had nothing after that.
Yeah.
My mother said, we have a house, we have a roof over our head and a warm bed to get into. That woman doesn't. And that's what I'm saying is that goodness is returned to us time
Yeah, all
and
day.
time again.
Yeah,
So you don't have to have a lot, but whatever you can say, really, you'd go to the shop and spend a tenner on a bottle of wine or a
yeah,
fiver on a cake, or you go in and buy 3 coffees and it costs you €15. Maybe you could donate the price of your few coffees to the
yeah,
I Donate crowdfunder this week or next week, or a price of a cup of coffee in three
yeah.
months' time,
All
whatever it
day
is.
long. Yeah, absolutely, Sharon. That would be amazing, because it is extremely costly.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyhow.
We are going to do our best, as I said, to get as out there as much as possible. And it won't be just for the podcast episode and the weeks that following. We will do as much as we can in the weeks and months after that, in the years to come,
Yeah,
Vanessa, to
you're
keep
amazing.
that up. No, because I
Yeah.
think it is amazing. And I think after everything that you've gone through, to come up with such a wonderful creation to help others is inspiring. So, Vanessa, you are just fabulous in every way.
Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Same as.
Thank you. So, thank you everyone for listening. And I do hope that you get behind Vanessa's app development and understand how many people that it's actually going to help. None of us in our lives ever think that we're going to experience cancer. Don't mind someone we love experiencing cancer. But you know what? It's hit nearly everyone's door at some stage or some point in their life. And that's not a fear thought to put out there, but that there is illness.
True
And
story. Yeah.
yeah, so we all know someone that has experienced it. And for me, again, having such a resource is not just a help to the person experiencing the cancer treatment, but the family that are sitting by feeling helpless and how they need support and information to support them so they can support the person in their lives that they love. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you. And so grateful to Vanessa Mooney as always for her amazing work. And to you, the listeners, again, this podcast is only shared through you listening and sharing it with the people you love. And for this particular episode, I really plead with you to share it and to get out the link that Vanessa needs for you and everyone else to support her so she can create it. I don't plead much, but I would really do it in this case. I get down on my knees if it helps everybody. So again,
Absolutely.
if there's any way anybody thinks they could help to help support Vanessa, please do get in touch with her. Until next time, thank you all for listening and take care of you.